The richest man on planet Earth, Elon Musk, once famously said that if he could give one bit of advice, it would be this: aspire to be less wrong. Now, all that is well and good, especially for somebody worth over $400 billion and shoots rockets up into space. Like him, love him, or hate him, I'm sure I'll lose a sub or two just for mentioning his name, but he may know a thing or two. However, it's hard for me to be less wrong when I'm always this damn right, especially when it comes to InArt. That's right, strap in for all the excuses and copium that is floating out there around InArt, their releases, and their figures, because I know you've been wanting this one, and I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for what I can assure you will be a highly controversial and divisive video today. Why? Because we're going to press some buttons. But why would I do this, you ask? Because I feel that it is owed to you, the collector, to talk about a company's shortcomings, not just to glaze them nonstop, dismiss and overlook every glaring problem, and come up with some of the weakest contrived excuses that I have ever heard. And let me say right off the bat, I don't plan or ever want to do this in a mean spirit, but I truly just want to voice concerns so that collectors like you can get some of their favorite figures from this company and actually get what they are promised. But of course, before we get into any of that, please make sure to give me a like on this video, because I am certainly going to need it, because I know that there's going to be a lot of thumbs down. Help me even it out and keep this video being circulated within our community and not banished to the abyss like Jazzing's Star Wars line, but that's a topic for another time as well. If you're not following me on any of my socials, make sure that you do that as well. And of course, make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. You don't want to miss a single one of the lovely videos that will be coming to you each and every week this season. So now, let's get into it, and tell me if you have heard or seen these types of comments before. Whenever InArt makes a release and it starts to trickle into people's hands, without fail, copy and paste these excuses, such as camera angle, lighting, lens, focal length, and hair futzing make a huge difference, or focal length, white balance, lighting, everything matters when it comes to photos like this, or what is live and what is in photos are often different, especially when we're talking about the scale of 1/6. Now, does this really sound like excuses that a premier 6-scale company needs their supporters to be parroting? Now, I know, getting figures into the hands of real collectors and not a studio setting is playing with fire. Hell, I will admit, myself, that I suck at posing, and most collectors actually are only average at best when it comes to displaying our figures, let alone photographing them and making them look like the high-end pieces of art that they are. But all that to say, this sentiment is thrown around a wee bit too much for my liking. Why? Because you shouldn't have to be relying on fancy lighting and sophisticated setups to portray a figure. It's either good or it isn't. Bottom line. But we'll get back to that in just a second. But before you come for me and start hurling insults my way, let me answer the big question that hardcore InArt fans are naturally thinking: why does Hot Toys get a pass? Well, let me answer it simply for you. They don't. The community was quick to call out Bruce Wayne's hairpiece from the Armory, or Artisan Joker's glue all over the scalp, or the crazy bad sculpts like the Human Torch and Ant-Man. We talk about these. But, and come in close for this because it's going to blow some of your minds, when a product costs more, people expect more. It's that simple. J&D cost the most, and their actions have led to a recall and potential shuttering of the line completely because of backlash from criticism. InArt carries a higher price tag and does some truly mind-numbing decisions that will naturally invite critics. So, ladies and gentlemen, collectors, fellow enthusiasts of 6-scale figures, we need to have an honest, no-holds-barred discussion about the glaring shortcomings of InArt, because frankly, the situation, in my opinion, is spiraling out of control, and it's high time someone said it loud and clear, because apparently you aren't allowed to talk smack around these parts. But InArt is dropping the ball in ways that are not only frustrating, but entirely avoidable. And I think that's what hurts the most. Of course, you'll just say, give them time, they're new to this business. There will naturally be growing pains for a new company. Now, let me go on the record and say, I want all these companies to succeed because it makes everyone better in the end. But continually shooting yourself in the foot will only take you so far. It's the natural way of things. So first and foremost, let's talk about quality control, or rather, the lack of it. And honestly, that batch system we used to talk about and that I harped on in the past is almost taking a back seat to this new development over at InArt recently. Look, we all entered the hobby because we expect perfection, or at least something that justifies the jaw-dropping prices that we're shelling out, and yet here we are. Inconsistent hair applications, 2 left feet, chips and scuffs in the paint, broken accessories, crappy magnets in the bases, and on we go. Sadly, the box, it appears, sometimes is more premium than the figure. And speaking of, sometimes unboxing that figure ends up looking nothing like the prototypes we were shown. What I'm saying is that if you're going to be boasting about the premium materials and craftsmanship, you had better deliver. There's no room for excuses when your brand positions itself as a competitor to the likes of Hot Toys, yet consistently fails to meet the bare minimum of quality consistency. But you may be saying, this is what happens. You complained that they were taking too long with releases, and now they're putting out more and more, and here you are bitching about QC. Damn it, Kiko, you are never happy. You're what's wrong with collecting. Well, let's move on to those rush releases then. Collectors seem to think that speed is synonymous with success, but let me tell you, it's not. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. The InArt Paul Atreides has been interesting, to say the least. There are plenty of people out there that ordered the sculpted version, but got the premium version. And others who paid for the premium and got the standard. Now, InArt said, like I said, I'm going to give them their wind, that they would make it right and arrange for them to be picked up and sent back. But as of now, this has been a total disaster. Their first direct-to-customer release, and they couldn't even get that right? Now, they say it's because a third-party company switched the orders up. Fine, whatever, maybe they did. But is dropping products into the market at a quicker speed to generate short-term buzz worth the headache of not ironing out the details properly? Do we also really need another figure that looks half-baked because they couldn't take the time to iron out the details? No, we don't. And yet, we're treated to figures and scream, well, y'all said you wanted them quicker. And frankly, that is insulting to the people who invest their hard-earned money into these pieces, and why, as you know, as I said, I wasn't buying any more InArt products because I have not seen anything that has warranted them changing much of anything for the better at all. And speaking of insulting, let's still not forget their abysmal distribution model. Why is it that trying to secure an InArt figure feels like navigating a labyrinth blindfolded? Limited allocations, regional restrictions, no clear communication on stock levels. It's a mess, and collectors shouldn't have to fight tooth and nail just to participate in this hobby. And look, I get that sometimes licensing restriction is out of their control, but this isn't working right now. Maybe they fix it for some other releases. Only time will tell. And then there's the absurd pipeline recently of these new releases that they've teased for the next few years. And let's be real here. It's a bloated wish list, not a practical roadmap. I mean, they are renders pulled from promotional images from these films. They're overpromising to generate hype, but the reality is that many of these projects could end up being canceled. And don't get me started on their 6-inch line that they just started to hype up. If this is a thriving company, why are more 6-inch figures being shown actually in person than the actual upcoming 6-scale figures? Maybe it's nothing, but to me that's a little concerning. What happened to those prototypes of Daenerys and Christopher Reeve Superman? Why are we only getting slides on a big monitor of fake mock-ups? Concerning, to say the least. Now mark my words, if that continues, we're going to see more cancellations than actual releases, and it's going to leave collectors frustrated and disillusioned. It's the classic bait and switch. You dangle the shiny promise of future figures and hope that nobody notices when most of them quietly disappear into the void. Look, they are playing you when they dangle a brand new reveal to get you talking. and then they put up a prototype for pre-order to take your money so that they can keep their operation going. And yeah, they'll pump out a few pieces here and there, and we'll all keep falling for it. However, times could be changing, because I have talked with collector after collector who, upon getting their coveted InArt figure, proclaims that it will be their last. And here's the kicker. InArt knows better. They're not some fledgling company fumbling around in the dark. They have the resources, the talent, and the backing to do better. But instead of focusing on quality, reliability, and a collector-friendly approach, they're squandering their potential on poor communications, a circus release process, and poorly executed products. So, what is the solution, you may ask? Focus on quality over quantity, but be open about the production time. Implement a transparent and fair distribution model that actually delivers. How about stop teasing an endless lineup of figures you can't realistically deliver on? And those mock-ups, or whatever you call them, it isn't passing the smell test on my BS meter. Look, collectors want to believe in you, InArt. We want to be excited about your releases, not dread them and be skeptical. InArt, if you're listening, and I hope you are, get your act together, because the goodwill of the community isn't infinite. Keep this up, and you'll find yourself relegated to the ranks of the what could have been companies. And trust me, no one wants that. Least of all, the people who believed in you from the start. Now, believe it or not, there are rumors that InArt has agreed to do another interview officially with Will and I, so I will need to have some new questions from you to bring to that interview. If you don't ask any questions, I can't ask them the hard-hitting topics. This is an opportunity for you to let me be your mouthpiece. So let me know what you need to know, and let me know down in those comments below, or DM me on Instagram or wherever you would like. And lastly, what do you think about all this? Do you think I'm a crazy InArt hater with a vendetta, or do I bring up some valid concerns and criticisms? And once again, as I said at the very beginning, I don't ever do this with a mean spirit. But truly, as I said, I want to voice concerns so that collectors actually get what they are promised. I think that's fair. Well, that's going to do it for us today. InArt, our balls are in your court. So until next time, happy collecting, and I'll be seeing you in our next video.